Hey 1301 students, this is Miss Moore. You've got another week down and week 5 is ready to go. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about what you'll be doing this week. But before I do that, I just wanted to hopefully give you some encouragement about your grades on Essay 1. I know some of you are probably a little bit disappointed with the grade, and I wanted to remind you about some things. First of all, remember to go back and look at my grading scale and my rubric in the syllabus, and remember that to me, a C grade is truly an average grade. And so if you made a C, don't get down on yourself. That's a good grade. That means that you're fulfilling the requirements of the assignment. It means that you were understanding and using the writing process. However, hopefully if you're not satisfied with that C, I'm going to hopefully be able to help you become a better writer, because that's my goal in this class, is to make you a better writer, a better than average writer. And so I hope that those of you that might have been disappointed with Essay 1's grade have already determined to do better on your cause and effect essay and are working towards that goal by looking at my comments and maybe even asking me some questions about how you can improve. So with Essay 1 out of your way also, I make that essay a little bit less in your total grade because I want you to be able to see my grading style and see what's important to me in my grading with that first essay, so that again, here in your second essay, you can really improve. So I look forward to seeing improvement in Essay 2. And again, I just wanted to encourage you that just because you made a C doesn't mean that your essay was not good. It just means that it could be a lot better. So this week's assignments, there's a lot going on this week, and it's a little bit different than what we've had. We don't have necessarily any reading from the book this week. This week is all about writing Essay 2. So hopefully many of you have looked at my comments on your thesis and outline that you turned in last week, and you've been working on a rough draft for your cause and effect essay. One blanket statement I'll make about what I've seen so far from those who did turn in their outlines and thesis statements was that some of your topics are too big. Remember, you're only writing 2 to 3 pages, and so you need to have a very specific topic and a very small topic rather than a large general topic like global warming. You want to have a small local idea, which was why I gave you that handout last week about a subject, a topic, and then a thesis. Hopefully that was showing you how to narrow down your topic a little bit. So on that note, I also this week, I've posted in week 5 some articles. And so if we'll go over this week's assignments here at the first part of your notes, I have read and think about the 2 articles posted just to get a real life view of cause and effect. So I posted a couple of articles that I think will just help you see cause and effect writing in real life. In the future, on this week in our other units, I'm going to have you turn in kind of a reflection about the articles. But this week, since we have a lot of new things going on, I'm going to not have you turn in those questions, but I did give you some questions at the end of this note sheet just to kind of think about those articles and know that in the future you're actually going to turn in some reflections on any articles that I post. But for now, just read those. Hopefully you'll enjoy them. I think they're really interesting articles, and they just give you a view of how we might use this type of writing in everyday writing. Okay, so let's get down to business. We've got this week's assignments. there's several things that are due this week and at several different times. Not everything is due at Sunday like a normal week. So let's talk about this. The first deadline you need to be aware of is that your rough draft is due Tuesday by 11 p.m. So that's coming up quickly, and it's really important that you get your rough draft on time, because as you look down here, as we talk about peer review, you must turn in a rough draft on time or you will not be able to participate in the peer review. So you must turn in this rough draft Tuesday by 11. You will turn that in, let me see if I can pull it up. You will turn that in under our weekly folder on Blackboard. So I've got it here for you to look at. Of course, I've got everything posted. What I've done is I've put your essay assignments for this week in folders, because the Turnitin assignments sound a little weird and I thought they could be a little confusing. So I've told you what folder to go to for each step. So you're going to turn in your Essay 2 rough draft in this folder, and it'll bring up your assignment here on Turnitin where you're going to turn it into. So I wanted that to be as clear as possible, so I put those in these folders. So you'll turn in your rough draft Tuesday by 11 p.m. If you don't get it in by then, you're not going to be able to participate in your peer review. So let's go back to our schedule. Peer review will begin right after that. So peer review begins Tuesday at 11:02 p.m. So we've got to give Turnitin time to allocate the papers. So you may give it 5 or 10 minutes, and really, ideally, wait till the next day to start your peer review. And that peer review, when you go in to review your peers' paper, you'll need to do that by Thursday at 11. So I'm not giving you much time. Between Tuesday at 11 and Thursday at 11, you need to set aside a good hour to an hour and a half to work on the peer review. So we need to be planning that. I know as online students, you usually have quite a bit of flexibility, but this peer review is not going to be flexible. So you need to be sure and set aside time this week to accomplish that. The peer review after Thursday at 11, it'll close and it'll be available for you to see your peer comments at 11:01. So after it closes again, give Turnitin a little bit of time to get it all ready. Then when you go back into your assignment, you're going to be able to see your peers' comments on your work. And we'll talk about that a little bit more here in just a second. So that's the peer review aspect. Now, don't forget about your regular MindTap assignments. You're also going to be doing reflection and grammar assignment that'll be due on your normal Sunday at 11. Also, the complete essay, your final copy after you've revised and edited and proofread, will be due Sunday at 11. One thing to note is that we're going to turn it in on Blackboard this time. You're not going to go through MindTap like you did last time. So again, when you look at your week 5 folder, you'll see there's a spot here at the very bottom to turn in that final copy. I've tried to label it as best I can, because Turnitin labels it as a revision, and that just means your final copy. So I tried to make that as clear as I could, again, with the files so that you could see that. Okay, so that's kind of the process for Essay 2 that you're going to be going through this week. If you have any questions about that, let me know. But again, the most important part is going to be this crunch time between turning in your rough draft and doing your peer review. So let's talk a little bit about what your peer review is going to look like. So your peer review is through Turnitin.com, You're accessing it through Blackboard, again, like I just showed you, the folder in your Blackboard. So you'll turn in that rough draft, and then you'll go into this peer review assignment, and that's where you'll participate in the peer review, and that's also where you will access your comments for the peer review. So again, just in case we're not sure, here is the peer review assignment. So this is where you're going to go in, and it will give you one of your peers' papers to grade, and you will also come back in here to get your own comments from your peers. So this is all done through this Turnitin.com, and you will remain anonymous. So this is important. To remain anonymous, don't put your name in the Word document. I think I mentioned that last time. So don't put your name in your rough draft anywhere. Just start the paper off knowing that you're going to need to go back and put your heading in later, because I just think it's better. You're not worried about whose paper it is. You're not worried about their name. All you're doing is looking at their paper and analyzing it. You will receive one peer's paper to review, and you will also be required to review your own. So it's also going to show you your own paper, and you're going to make the comments. The comments will be on the right-hand side of the screen. These are going to be questions that I've come up with that you must answer. I will grade your review based on the feedback you give your peer, and this is part of your process work grade. That's 15% of your total grade in the class. So I'm going to grade and make sure that you're giving helpful comments to your peer, and make sure that you're completely analyzing their essay. And so you'll do that again for one peer and then on your own paper as well. Now, I will warn you that I've heard that Turnitin has had some problems, so please let me know if this doesn't seem to be turning out the way I've told you. There's been some problems with people not receiving papers, and so please let me know as soon as you can if there's some problems with the peer review, and we'll work with it. But knock on wood, hopefully that won't happen. Also, I wanted to point out that in your Blackboard you have a couple of links that will explain Turnitin, reading peer reviews, and also the peer mark overview. Please read this before you do your peer review so you'll know how this is all going to work, because I'm already running out of time in my video to explain. So please read over the training that I've provided. Make sure you understand your peer review assignment before you go into it on Tuesday. Okay, so that's peer review. Last thing real quick, I've given you some questions just to think about the articles that I've given you this week. Again, you're not going to turn any of this in. I just want you to kind of see what I'm thinking about doing for the next unit. So the next unit, the same week you have peer review, I'm going to give you a couple of articles, and I'm going to have similar questions. So again, you do not have to type these out or turn these in this week. I just wanted to give you some ideas of thinking critically about the articles I've posted. Okay, so I think that covers the schedule for this week. The biggest part of this week is participating in peer review. I don't have documentation of this, but I would say that pretty much every person that participates in peer review can raise their paper by a whole letter grade, their paper grade, because not only are you getting feedback from a peer, but you're also kind of critically analyzing your own paper and double checking it against my standards. So I really hope that peer review is going to be awesome and helpful, and please let me know if you have any questions or problems. Good luck with the peer review. I look forward to reading your Essay 2s, your cause and effect essays, and I will hopefully hear from you if you have any questions. Happy peer review, happy writing.